Welcome to the Reliable HVACR live stream and podcast. You can watch live here and join the chat, or you can watch the replay afterwards. You can also listen on the go. This is available on all podcast platforms, and welcome. So today we have a very special episode we're going to do. And we kind of did this one time with the Tactical Award Show before, that was going on. And we're going to have 3 special guests today. They all happen to do a little bit of everything, right? The HVAC side, the kitchen side, fixing hot side and cold side. So I have a great admiration for these guys that do everything, a little bit of everything. So please welcome, we got Pat Finley, we got Jason Latimer, and we got Rich Ortega. Welcome, guys. What are you laughing at, man?
I felt the love. I felt the love on Ortega.
There you go, man.
I love it.
So how y'all doing? Y'all good week, bad week? Okay week?
So far.
So.
It sucked when I realized it was only Tuesday today. We'll put it that way.
It's a long week when you're already thinking about that on a Tuesday.
Yes, it is.
The longest week of my life is on a Monday morning. One day I was like, "Is it Friday yet?" And that week lasted like 3 weeks in one, man. So
Oh man,
I refuse to say that ever again.
you can't think about it that way, right?
Oh
It'll
yeah,
be a long week.
it was terrible.
All right, guys. So I brought y'all here today together. I love what you guys do over on Pat's channel. The Commercial Kitchen Chronicle. If you guys want to see these guys, after this show, if you want to see more from them, go ahead and check out Pat Finley's channel, Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. You can follow all these guys on their social media platforms. I'll leave all the links in the description. And they have their own thing that they do where they talk about, or they want to bring awareness to the kitchen side, the hot side, right? Because I know there's plenty of guys picking up, the content creation and everything on the HVAC side, the refrigeration side. But like you said, I've heard you say you want to bring awareness to the hot side. Not too many people post about that. I know it's like you guys, I know Curious HVAC, Bill does it, and a few other guys, but there's not really a whole bunch out there. So I appreciate you guys all coming here tonight, and we can talk about all that stuff.
Sweet, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate being here. Yeah.
So
That's
I will
awesome.
say this: Commercial Kitchen Chronicles is more than just me now. It's us 3. Dusty's in there. We're just trying to do our thing, and we've got a good group of guys together, and I think we're going to do some cool stuff in the future.
Yeah, I like what you're doing. It's very unique, right? So, like I said, everybody that comes into it, there's like an HVAC community, right? And I appreciate what you do because our company does both. We do hot and cold side. Now, I'm not as good as you guys, or as diverse, I guess. I only stick to HVAC. I specialize in this refrigeration side. My dad is the one that runs the hot side, and like I always tell people, he's the best at what he does. I feel like I'm the best at what I do, at least in my area. And we tackle that on as a company. But you each guys do that individually. You do hot and cold. Is there anything else? Do you guys do anything else? Jason, I know you have this whole facilities
Maintenance. So yeah, I do everything. I do beverage, hot side, cold side.
Oh, that's right. I was going to ask you about the whole beverage
I do
thing.
full facilities. It's what I'm going to school for, but it's for the most part it's just maintenance, but you're taking care of the whole building, whether it's inside, outside, hot, cold, irrigation, things like that, solar, lighting, everything.
Yeah, there's a whole other side to this business, and I've told people, or that people that ask me that want to get into the trade, I'm like, yeah, it's good business, right? Everybody needs air conditioning and refrigeration, but there's that a whole other, because I like and I might be biased because our company does it. I like the whole idea of being able to do everything in that kitchen or everything in that building.
Yeah,
and you kind of have more job security that way, and that's just my 2 cents on that.
No,
Yeah.
that's a good point, because people, they'd prefer not to have several vendors in their building, and they know if you're on site that you're going to take care of everything.
And personally, I like being a tech that can do it all, just because, I think it looks better when the customer doesn't have to place 2 service calls to the company because, one guy's a cold side tech, one guy's a hot side tech. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but I like to be able to walk into place and be like, okay, what you got? Yep, I can take care of all of that. We're good.
Yeah, that sounds good. It's that was going to be one of my points too. Is like that's kind of why my dad started our company as a hot side only company, right? He used to work for this other company that was a commercial kitchen type of company, and that's what they worked on. Fryers, grills, all that stuff. Warranty work for them, installations, you name it. And then that's what he knew. He started this business based on that. But then that's what he was thinking. Like you said, Rich, I don't want other companies, and this is from a competition view, right? I don't want them to call other companies to come in here, and then what if that company does everything, right? Then they're gonna be like, oh, we could take a look at that grill for you. We could take a look at whatever it is. And he was like, no, I need to expand. So then he put that on me, right? I went to school for it, and we kind of partnered that way. Because I always have to remind people, my dad does not do a lick of HVAC. I've had to, kind of teach him the basics just in case he's there and he's like, oh, I can look at it, at least hook up some gauges and give me a little reading. That way I can tell him, oh, check your filter, check your airflow, clean the coil or something like that until I get out there. So that's how we tackle it. So like your point, Rich, is like you rather have the convenience, and I think that's every customer. They rather have the convenience of having one company or one tech be there and knock out everything.
Oh yeah, I love going in. Say if I don't get a call on a fryer, I see their ice machines down, the coolers down. I'm like, hey, I can take a look at that. Well, we've already called somebody else. Well, I'm here. I can go ahead and look at it for you while I'm here, because I will snake some work, man. I am not above it. If I can stay one place all day and work on 5 different pieces, hey, I'm in heaven.
Yeah, I'm the same way with that. And one of my other things too, I mean, because like Adrian, you said like a competition standpoint, and obviously like I don't feel like I'm in competition with my coworkers or anything like that, but there's very few coworkers that I'm okay with them going into the accounts that I regularly service, because if not, it's going to fall on me to clean it back up. So that's another reason why I think too, I'd rather be the guy that's like, yeah, I'm here. I can touch everything you got here and keep, my finger on it, make sure it goes the way I want it to go. So customers not pissed off and I'm not, like I said, playing cleanup on the back end.
Yeah, nobody likes a callback.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day that one company from the next, I don't think that one service company to the next can do tech better than the next, but it's the when you have somebody else that has their foot in the door, you don't know if they have a better personality and they're going to connect with that client and then swoop them up. Because I mean, theory is theory, refrigeration is refrigeration, hot side's hot side. If I can't, I can fix it, the next company can, but it's about the relationship. And once you have more than one person in there, it's going to depend on who's the manager on shift, who likes who, and you'd rather just lock it all up.
And that too, that's why so much of my content is on customer service and interacting with people and whatnot, because exactly what you just said, even though there's a shortage of good techs, every company out there has techs that can do stuff. Or if both companies equally suck, they're still going to go with the person that they connect with better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, exactly. So like, and now that I've been doing this for a while and I kind of see it more from the business side and that customer relationship, I get what you're talking about. But like we actually have a lot of companies down here that specialize on one side or one or the other. And I think that hurts them, right? It's like, I tell people, because they ask me about like getting into the trades, and I'm like, yeah, it's a good trade to be in. Specifically the whole kitchen thing, because that gets you into hospitals, that gets you into schools, that gets you into restaurants. Like right now I'm picking up a bunch of like nursing homes. Everything nowadays has a commercial kitchen, right? They got to feed people left and right. Refrigeration, they have HVAC equipment, they have cooking equipment. Like it's like endless work, really. So even though I don't practice it myself, I do need to get into the kitchen side. I used to be like a helper for my dad, and I did, change out parts here and there, check a few things. But I once I got into refrigeration, I really gravitated to that part, and I really enjoy what I do. I don't miss all the greasy, equipment and getting all that stuff all over me. I don't know how you guys, deal with that, but I've been there, I've done that. But I do want to get back into the kitchen side. It is intriguing to me because then you can be there, like you said, Pat, be there all day just working on this equipment, then go on to the next one, and then you have a whole day's worth of work there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked on hand dryers in bathrooms, man, at restaurants. If it's broke, dude, I'll be like, hey, we can do that,
Yeah, we have guys that like me and my brother are HVAC. We specialize in that part. My dad specializes in the cooking equipment. We have had other guys that do a little bit of both. Now they might not be, the best at either one, but they bring tremendous value because I can just send them out, right? And they can be like, I'll take a look at whatever it is, even if it's just to, get us by for a few hours. If I can't make it or whatever, if they get stuck, then I'll go. Because we have a guy right now that does hot side, cold side, and he does the like the dryers or the washers, because we have a few
Appliances.
like hotels. Yeah, he does appliances. So we have a few of hotels where they have all that stuff, that they need fixed too. And it's all commercial stuff as well. And he can actually go out there. He's the only one right now that can go out there, but that's another job security thing right there.
That's a good thing.
Exactly. Nice.
So yeah, he's a big value to what we do at our company. We get into like my dad, he's a big people's person. He gets us into things sometimes, and hotel calls, and it's like, yeah, we can take a look at your cooking equipment. My son can take a look at your refrigeration. Oh, you got washers and dryers and other appliances. We can do that too. It's a big selling point.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless in a kitchen or a hotel or school or nursing home. There's stuff everywhere you look. So it's just being able to fix it all is a huge asset to your company. I mean, it's kind of hard to find a guy that's really proficient at both. Most of them, you can find some guys that are decent at both or better at one than the other. But if you can find a guy that's proficient at both and no callbacks and he's taking care of your customer, that guy is worth his weight in gold.
Yeah, it's been a big help. So like what I was saying is that companies down here also specialize in one, and that's what my dad didn't want didn't want to happen to us. So I see plenty of companies that just advertise as AC only or refrigeration only. And granted, I can tell who sticks around and who is successful. But it's just us and honestly like a handful of other companies that actually do everything. So, those are the companies that do better or do well, because anything that comes along, they can be like, oh, I take care of everything. So I don't know. It's just I might sound biased, but I really do value that if you do both sides or more than just what you can specialize in, you bring a lot of value there.
Yep.
I'd say, Adrian, you'd find that hot side is a lot easier than your specialty, because I'm sure you like the complexities of HVAC, which is affected by the ambient temperature and things like that. But with cooking equipment,
on most days, yes.
Yeah, but cooking equipment, it's like we all want to eat. We all know how to cook food. The equipment does, whether it's hot or cold out, the equipment does what it's supposed to do, sequence of operations. So I find hot side cooking equipment so much easier because it's not affected by so many external factors like the temperature outside or inside.
Yeah, see, that's why I get bored with it though. I mean, I get bored with hot side so easy. And I mean, I started refrigeration. It's almost similar to Adrian because I'm third generation in this. My dad and my grandfather did hot side, and they told me, they said, if you want to make real money, learn how to do refrigeration. So that's where I started. Mm-hmm. And I mean, in the past 2 years, I've done a lot more hot side being with Whaley. When I was in Florida, you could do just cold side and still do 15 hours a day, every day of the week. Where I'm at now, it's a little slower than that. So I've been doing a lot of hot side for the past 2 years, and it's cool. There's a lot of fun stuff, but for the most part, it gets boring. And then when they throw me on some real refrigeration or God forbid, a good ice machine, I'm like, yeah, this is my happy place right here.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I love the challenge you know, but like, I don't know. Honestly, I think a balance of both is probably good because, you know, those you can get bombarded with the HVAC calls, especially during the
Mhm.
summer, and you want to get out of that sun.
Yeah, I agree. It's
Yeah.
nice to be able
So
to change it up.
yeah, I mean that's a good way to look at it because I'll get backlogged on calls because you know they're in the summertime. We get a lot of AC calls, and it's not always like something simple as like, you know, a part here or there. It ends up being I've had issues with like ductwork and some weird stuff that a previous company has done, and you got to sit there and like figure it out. And then each call uh, takes so long, right? Especially ice
Mhm.
machines, some of this refrigeration equipment, and then like you could be there all day working on something. So that's the only part is like when I get overwhelmed, the HVAC calls, you know, they take a while, and then like, oh man, I got to get to the next one, and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
so like in my personal experience, and I think somebody asked, if you're talking to me, my company's based out of South Texas, all the way down. Because some people think I'm in like Houston or San Antonio. I'm like 5 hours south of that. So if you guys were wondering about that, but when I got into the trade, I obviously have to get experience first to get my contractor's license. I do have my contractor's license, and then the guy that I got it from or that signed off for me was a residential guy. Now I don't do residential. I mean, I rode with him, you know, it was cool to kind of see that or whatever, but I needed to do commercial refrigeration. Now I had to learn a lot as I went because I didn't have a senior tech, you know, my dad didn't do HVAC. So a lot of mistakes were made, learning on the job, you know, experience is king when you are trying to learn this field. And there was a couple of guys that I could lean on that I could call that my dad knew from his previous job and all that. So I had some guys that, you know, show me some tips and tricks here and there, but for the most part, I learned on my own. How did you guys get into doing both hot and cold? And like, how did you learn what you know? I don't know if any of you guys went to score or anything.
So I was an electrician for years, for 6 years. And my dad worked for a company, and they got bought out, and he didn't want to be a part of the big conglomerate. I didn't want to be an electrician anymore because I have ADHD, and I was doing apartments, and it was the same thing every single day. It drove me up the wall. So I started doing hot side, and I did hot side for 3 years. The training I got for hot side was I rode in a van with a guy for like 2.5 weeks. My uniforms came in, and he was like, "Oh, send him out on his own. He's got it." That was kind of rough. So that was 17 years ago. So we didn't have as many controllers, computers as we do now. And then I wanted to do refrigeration. I jumped ship to go to a company to learn refrigeration. They promised me they were going to teach me refrigeration, and their idea of teaching me refrigeration was stuff's on the truck, figure it out. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
And luckily, I had my dad and some other people to rely on for help, and you know the internet was around, and I just started diving into the internet and doing what I could. And self-taught, self-mistakes, like you said. I still make mistakes, but you got to learn from it and just keep those in the back of your mind. If you come across it again, make sure you don't do it again. It's just, I just got there and just grinding it every day, man.
Gotcha. What about you, Rich?
So like I said, my dad and my grandfather were like, if you really want to make money, learn refrigeration. So I went to tech school, but I didn't finish the course. I only went for a couple months. I was working for a place that refurbished and sold used restaurant equipment. So they took me from warehousing to working on the refrigerated stuff that they got in because they actually wouldn't do a lot of used refrigeration because it was too expensive for them to hire a company to fix it and too many problems. So they're like, well, if you're learning this here, practice. And I started picking it up, you know, basically with the fundamentals I had learned in school, then working on pieces here and there. Then they had me at certain points go out, run service calls because they had a service side also. And then just kind of grew from there. And then for me, hot side to me is, I think that having a strong refrigeration background has just made hot side easy because it's a lot of fundamental stuff and, you know, a lot of basic electrical, basic gas, things like that. I actually tell people when they're like, what if I want to get into your industry, you know, and I want to go to tech school, what do I need to study? I say, if it's me, I say study HVAC because you get enough of the fundamentals of everything that's dealt with in the kitchen between learning the fundamentals of HVAC and then, you know, riding around for a little bit, you'll be pretty solid. Well, that was about it. I was able to, I was fortunate. I met a lot of guys like in supply houses and stuff that would I'd be talking with them and they'd give me their phone numbers, and as I ran into more complicated stuff when I was first starting out, I could call them and have them walk me through and grow, which is also why I'm always telling people, hey, if you're in a jam, you got my social media, reach out to me.
Yeah.
I got no problem helping you because people did it for me back in the day.
That's awesome, man. Like that's what I love about the community, because when I started my social media, I was able to talk to like Chris Stevens, a bunch like Rick from HVAC Survival, like all these guys, and they answered my questions really quick. And I even talked to Ty Brenneman recently, because the way he explains things, it's so easy to understand. So yeah, if anybody needs help with anything, a lot of the guys that you see on Instagram, YouTube, any of these platforms, we're all willing to chat or walk you through something. Just reach out to any of these guys. So what about you, Jason? How'd you get into, well, you do a little bit of everything, right? How'd you get into all that?
For me, it had to do with the last recession. I'll try to shorten the story. The last recession put us where I was in hospitality, customer service, retail, and 2008, 2009, it was just hard to keep a job in Southwest Florida. So my wife joined the service, and we ended up getting shipped to the other coast over in the Washington State area. So for her 4-year contract, we just decided I was just going to go ahead and reinvent myself. And I took that 4-year time to go to school, and was looking at some different careers. And I really wanted to get into facilities and property, just taking care of properties. I saw myself either being in a high rise, multi-units, or just taking care of multiple properties. But did the 4 years, got a degree in HVAC, got a degree in facility maintenance engineering. Thought I was done with being in hospitality and restaurants, and then I came back to Florida, and the first gig I got was working at Steak and Shake as a corporate maintenance technician. And then for there, I found out I was going to do everything. So it was taking care of the building, whether it was the walk-ins, the reach-ins, the dishwashers, the ovens, the grills, the fryers, painting, just stuff I went to school for anyway. But I found that my love for hospitality and spending, 17 years in restaurants, that I felt very comfortable being here and that I was in the right place. And that's how I kind of got into everything. And then from there, I just ended up leaving that, because when you're in a franchise restaurant, you're always working on what one building is the same as the next. You got the same brand and style of equipment. So we had electric grills, electric fryers, all that stuff. I'm like, well, I want to learn gas, and I want to work with steam and apply more principles of what I went to school for. So I ended up leaving and going to a service company, and so we branched out, and I kind of just been doing that. But that's kind of how I got into it. Recession, military, school, work.
Yeah, now they got you doing everything out there.
Everything, yeah.
That's cool, because you guys do, or you do you said the beverage systems and different
yeah. So the
things that
company
are in
I
the
worked
kitchen.
for, the company I worked for the last 6 years was the largest franchise owner of McDonald's in the state of Florida. So we were kind of responsible for about 60 McDonald's, and there's a lot of things when you own a McDonald's and you have a maintenance department that you can do that other companies can't do. So I had to be certified in Taylor grills, Taylor ice cream machines, the OJ machines, and a couple other brands that normally they would require a factory authorized technician to work on. But since we were considered in-house maintenance and we were able to go to their schools and get certified, we were responsible for our own stuff. So I just picked, luckily, blessing that this company I've been with has got me into some more things that I normally wouldn't, otherwise wouldn't have with other companies. So they have us doing, they have automated beverage systems that, have like a little carousel, little arm it brings down, makes all the drinks at the drive-through automatically for the drive-through person, so they don't have to run several people to a machine. So I had to learn all the automation and the pneumatics and the system and stuff like that. So the thing about McDonald's equipment is that it's all what I would consider over-engineered. So if you can work on equipment at McDonald's, because they can't make stuff simple, you can work anywhere. I mean, there's more boards. They're like their ice cream machine's a Tesla for no good reason, other than it needs to fit in Yeah, it's everything's over engineered. You're reading a lot of schematics and you know, when we work on outside stores, you know,
Yeah.
just a plain grill is like, oh yes, this is not. I don't have to, you know, DeLorean or something. You know, what are the little Joan? So
Yeah,
it's not a
man.
time machine and whatnot, and it's not over engineered and whatnot. But yeah, I think it's a blessing to get into all these different things. Yeah, I'm not, you know, super tech on the refrigeration side or the hot side, but you know, I can hold my own, and I'm not afraid that if I get too bogged down or too deep into something, to call somebody that is specializes in that, and because we
Oh
do
yeah.
have a great community.
Yeah, for sure. I've never worked in a McDonald's, so I'll take that into note. Because we do places, and you know that one stuff like the most high tech is like the fryers that have the computers on them. A lot of people get confused with them down here. My dad, you know, is pretty like he'll go there in a few minutes, he figures it out, whatever. He already knows like
Cool.
what to look for, and it's actually gotten us a whole bunch of work that we almost want to turn away because it's like 4 hours out, 5 hours out, and the thing is they don't have. They always tell us, and I just ran into another. I was working with a project manager today that wants me to take care of, or both of us, you know, take care of his kitchens and stuff. He's like, I always hear the same thing. It's always like we can't find good qualified techs in certain areas, right? So the ones they find us, they try to get us, you know, over here, pulling us this way, that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to
Lock you
turn
in.
away work. But yeah, you know, it's a thing. You know, job security. Just we do everything as a company, but if you can really do your homework, research after work, you know, kind of invest in yourself, that's a way to go.
I agree.
Yep. Never stop learning, man.
So, okay, so you were talking about hospitality work, and we kind of talked about customer service, or it was mentioned. How important do you think it is when you're dealing with customers? You know, that whole customer service, the whole relationship with your customers. Because I run a business, but you guys, you know, work for, you know, these companies, but it's the tech that goes out there and represents the company. So I don't know. Do you guys have any in or opinions on customer service and the relationship with the customers?
Dude,
Rich.
I always say, I guess y'all knew I was going to take that one. Um, dude, and I'll say it a million times, and you'll have a hard time changing my mind. It's better to be a good tech with great people skills than a great tech with crappy people skills. You can, and I don't want to say get away because that's not the good word, but one, if you screw up but you have a good relationship with the customer, they're so understanding and you know willing to work with you and stuff like that. And also, you know, regardless of how good you fix something, customers are always going to remember how they felt dealing with you. And even when I was, you know, I would consider myself an average tech, I would get requested, and then they would tell the office of the company I work for that, you know, they felt comfortable with me. They felt like, you know, they understood what I did and why I did it. You know, I cleaned up after myself. You know, I remember being on a service call one time, and when I was done, I was sweeping up all the you know clippings from wires and whatnot. And the lady is like, out of every company we've ever had here, you're the first technician to clean up after himself. And I'm like, what? But even then was like, whenever they would call in, yeah, can you make sure you send Rich? Can you make sure you send Rich? And I'm like, because I swept the floor. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's paramount, and it's you cannot get away from having to know how to have a good relationship with the customer.
And that's the whole thing, right? Like some of us, including myself when I started, you want to get in and out. Like you just some people just want to do the work and then move on to the next one. They don't have the people skills or whatnot, but like that kind, like what you're talking about, cleaning up after yourself, that's a big thing. You know, my dad implemented that kind of stuff on me, right? You know, clean up. We are there with a mop and broom. Sometimes we make a
Mm-hmm.
mess on, you know, some of these refrigeration equipment, you know, drains mess up, you get all this nasty stuff everywhere. Like take the time to clean. And that's a big thing. Well, being requested is another job security, right? It's another way
Mm-hmm.
to show value to your company. If you do all these little things, make the customer feel good, comfortable is a big thing. And then on top of that, you know, you fix their problem, but you did, little things like clean up after yourself, don't make a mess. We're very conscious about being in these people's like area, right? It's where they are most of the time. It's their workspace. They have to be there every day, all day. So just be a little more considerate. Make sure you say hi to them, give a little chat. I like to chat with them a little bit, see how they're doing. And if they also, a question that I always ask is, hey, do you need anything else? I'm here. What's giving you problems? What's doing this? So,
Yep. I always ask, is there anything else I can do? Are there any questions you have, before I go? And just while you were talking, back to the cleanliness thing, one of the biggest things, and it was so simple, but I had a helper years ago. We were cleaning ice machines, and he's like, hey, you don't ever, get some Sheila Shine and polish the outside of the machine? And I'm like, nah, I never thought about that. And he's like, well, think about this. He goes, they can't see what you did inside the machine once you close it all up. He's like, but when you polish the outside, it gives them the impression that you did a good job. So we were on our way to clean another ice machine. So I stopped and got some Sheila Shine, and it was crazy. But after we polished it all up, the owner of the restaurant comes out, wow, this thing looks great. The machine was all sealed up. She don't know if we did it or did it right or not, inside the machine. But because there was no handprints and no grease on the bin or the front of the machine or anything like that, she was just blown away. Wow, y'all did a great job. Yep, y'all are going to be cleaning my ice machines every 6 months now. And I'm like little stuff like that, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, because we do that too. And luckily my brother is kind of like, I don't want to say he's like a clean freak, but he is one of those guys that will like go and wipe it down, any little spot on the outside on the steel or anything. He'll go and wipe it down. So definitely that's a good point, because what does the customer know about the work that you do, right? It's either working or not working. Exactly. What they can see is the presentation. So I mean, that goes for guys that do installs or change outs or anything like that, right? Make sure it's presented in a well manner. But then if you're doing maintenance, if you're doing service work, give it a wipe down afterwards. Clean up behind there. There's going to be like in kitchens and a lot of this equipment, ice machines, or I know steamers and all this have a problem with water. There's going to be scale and all this other stuff too. Just clean up, wipe down, make sure you get all that stuff that the customer sees. Because like you said, it's a pretty good impression that they see, like, oh wow, there's that extra step that they took.
Yeah. And
now I want them to do it from now on, right?
And I'm at the point where I'm even cleaning up rooftops after other companies.
I
because
hate that.
I don't want them. It drives me nuts. It's always driven me nuts to see companies leave crap. But now I'm like, once I've been on that roof, I don't even want them to have the possibility of thinking that I left trash on their roof.
You touched it last.
I touched it last. So guess what? Them 3 compressors that have been sitting there for 6 years, they're coming down and going in the trash can.
We did the same thing, because we got a restaurant down here that, they were tired of the company they called. We went out there, and I'm like, the first thing I saw to my right was like 3 compressors in a row just laid there. And I don't know how long they've been there.
Oh, man.
And the first thing I told them was like, all right, so the manager wasn't up there at the time, but I was like, okay, that's the first thing we need to do is, get all these compressors down, make sure we clean up the roof a little bit. There'll be dryers or contactors thrown around. And then like, because some of these managers actually do go up there. I've had a few that will follow you up there, and they'll point out stuff or they'll look at things. And you never know. That's why I always tell people, just work like somebody's watching over your back, or if somebody's going to come behind you, like you said, you touched it last, they're going to blame you for it. Just clean up or get it out of there, and don't worry about it after.
To add to what Rich said earlier in regards to asking the customer if there's anything else you can do for them, the one thing I always ask customers, just because of my experience in hospitality and working in restaurants, is that I know, aside from making money, the other most important thing is inspections. And if you ask them when are their inspections coming up, man, they'll think you're their best friend, because you are definitely looking out for them. And then if you can try to find out, hey, what's the schedule like, and try to be proactive and know that, hey, they just had one 3 weeks ago, like a month ago, they're going to get another one in 2 more months. Try to get them on a schedule, and actually try to call them in advance, and always ask them when you're there and say, hey, do you have an inspections coming up? Man, they will love you. They will love you.
That's a good point right there. Yeah.
So
those damn inspections, calls spike through the roof.
So my thing is, like, if you pull out a piece of equipment and it's dirty behind there, you don't want to work back in that mess. So if you take the
Oh
time,
yeah,
you take the time to clean it because you don't want to work in that mess. The customer thinks you're cleaning it for them. You're really, you're trying to customer side. All you're doing, you don't want to stand or kneel in that crap. So you're cleaning it up for your own sake, but it works out.
Surfing on cardboards.
I'm always conscious about, like, I don't want anybody, because like one of the things I told my brother when he started with us, I was like, okay, if we're gonna lay out extension cords, if we're gonna lay out equipment, please give them a walkway. Also with water, if there's ice that we're removing from a coil or anything, squeegee it away from anything, like go to the floor drain or whatever is close by, because the last thing I want is somebody to slip and fall or trip over something that I have out there. I run a business. I don't want that liability. So that was another thing that I always had on my mind.
That's good.
Yep, I always tuck everything out of the way. If you got to run a hose, make sure you run it around things, around corners. Make sure it's tight to the corners.
Yeah.
Try to put something over it, a piece of cardboard or something, wet floor signs, a mop, anything, mop bucket over top of it so people are aware it's there.
Yeah, just watch out for yourself, because those guys cooking or whatever, whatever place they're working in, they're just, sometimes they get busy and they're just running 100 miles per hour trying to, keep up. And the last thing you want is, for them to fall and blame you for it.
If you've never seen a busy restaurant at 6:30 on a Friday night, you guys have no idea what we're talking about, man. It is chaos. Those guys can't move more than 2 feet, and they are screaming, yelling, throwing stuff. I mean, it's amazing how these guys work.
Yeah, I don't get it, but I hate being there when they're that busy.
It's terrible. But sometimes we just got to do it, man.
Because some people ask me about it, right? Because I used to work. I work more on the roof now than I did before. I used to be in a lot of tight kitchens, these big restaurants, fancy restaurants. The kitchens are tight as hell, and you're there working under equipment sometimes, and you got to get used to people stepping over you, stepping around you. Like it's you got to get comfortable being like that. So, and I think, I don't know, Jason, you mentioned the cardboard. Cardboard is your best friend when you work in kitchens as well.
I go straight to the back and I go grab it out of the bin and I lay it down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
get to it.
There's nothing like going working on something dirty and nasty first thing in the morning and smelling it the rest of the day. I mean, you get it in some coolers and stuff, but man, you work on a leaky combi oven or a fryer, and it's like impregnated in your skin. So like the first day my son started working with me, we worked on a really greasy, nasty fryer. And I went to the sink and I was looking around for a green scratch pad, and all I could find was the metal one, scouring pads. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "You want that shit on you all day?" And he's like, "No." And I was like, "Watch this, dude." And I just started taking it to my skin, just scrubbing the grease off. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "You got to take a layer of skin off to get that off, dude."
I was about to ask, how do you guys deal with all that at the end of the day or during the day? Like, you got to get to another call and you're covered in grease or whatever.
Carry
soap.
It is what it is. I mean, to clean off what I can, but I'm not tripping over it.
Man, I used to work in some kitchens where like because like it would be the reach-in coolers and freezers right next to the fryers.
Yep.
The prep coolers and all that, and all the top would be greasy just because the fryers were right next to it. And I didn't know at first, right? I would lean over it and like my whole skin would just stick to the top of the unit. I'm like, damn it. So I think I started wearing long sleeves. I'm trying to figure out what to do because I hated getting that, on me and stuff.
There's not much you can do about it. You just clean in between.
No.
You use gloves, but then you blow the gloves real quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a natural moisturizer, I guess. So you're not like your hands aren't dried out. But
You're not gonna get ashy.
Your tools don't rust either, man.
yeah.
So do you guys take the time to educate your customers on how their equipment runs? I feel like that's always an issue that we have.
That's the fun. That's the best part of the relationship, because I'd say 10%, 90% of the customers actually want to know what's going on. So that to me, it's just like, you're gonna let me explain this to you. That's great. 10% of them are busy and they're just like, I can't talk right now. But they're the ones I stay away from. I'm just like, all right, you're my friend over there. You're not. So I'll just go find someone else. But no, explaining everything is awesome. I love it. And you kind of just, when I talk about refrigeration, they're like, what? Why isn't it getting cold, or how does it get cold? I'm like, think of a water hose. It just pours out like liquid, but when you put your thumb on it, It atomizes into a cool spray. You can spray yourself. That's refrigeration. You meter it, it turns cold. They're like, I get that. And I'm like, all right, we're good. They're like, he explains things. So it's little things like that.
Yeah.
Because what about like, because we have like prep coolers and stuff, right? They're in the manual. I have to show them the manual sometimes. I started pulling it up for them because they cannot leave that top compartment open all day. It's supposed to
The
be
dressing table part.
Here comes Rick.
yeah.
Just got one on this. I already know.
Huh?
The people leaving stuff in top and they're supposed to take it out.
Yeah,
So-
like I tell them, I'm like, dude, do you want me to read you the manual? Like it's supposed to say closed for one when they're not busy, right? It can't be open all 24/7. I was like, how do you expect it to cool? And then like they leave empty spaces and like that's always a constant thing. And right now I'm dealing with a lot of those kinds of prep tables where I have to be like, well, it works, but you're supposed to, maintain it or keep it closed or whatever it may be.
Well, we got this one chain that we're dealing with now that they got these particular model prep tables, and I've ran a few service calls on them. After I talked with the facilities guy, it seems those calls went away. Now, I think this manufacturer's full of crap and just trying to, they made a bad design and they're trying to, cover their behinds. But they're basically, it's designed that it only keeps the box cold. You have to put cold product at top and rotate it every 3 to 4 hours. The top does not cool at all. And they say that's how they intentionally designed
That
it.
doesn't
And I'm
even
like,
sound right.
I'm like, in 17 years that I've been doing this, you're the first person to ever tell me some crap like that. I had to go to the manager, and before I explained it to him, I said, listen, this is going to sound like a load of bull crap, but it's not me, it's the manufacturer. This is what they said for me to tell you. And by the way, they won't warranty it because it's how it's designed and you're not using it right.
Oh, that's the worst one because we have I've only seen two types of prep coolers, I guess, like the true ones, which is like the coils in the back and the air goes up and hits the top.
It makes an air curtain. I hate those.
Yeah.
Oh,
we don't work on them anymore, but we used to
Makes
work
an
on
air
those.
curtain.
I like
we used to work on a lot of those.
Coldwell.
Yeah, and then now we're dealing with the ones that are just the bottom. They're three separate evaporator coils. So you have the cabinet in the bottom, right? It's traditional doors. The middle is like because it's a pizza place, where all the toppings fall. It's just a little catch-all, and that area, the wall ices up. And then on the top they have the condiments, but it's just a wall that ices up. It's like a little ice chest basically. There's no fans or anything like that. So those are the ones where I have to tell them there's no fans, there's not anything to circulate it. So it's really important if you guys are not using it to please close it. Keep it covered the whole, I hate when they have empty spaces or they don't have enough product for it. I'm like, you need to keep it, you need to rotate it and you need to keep it full at all times. So those are the ones that I deal with now.
So it sounds like I won't say the rest.
Yes, Randall. Yeah. So I like those. I like that brand, but they do have to keep all the squares closed.
Yeah.
And the bottom of that, I think it's 17 degrees. You see the ice pattern on the bottom and along the sides, and it does keep the food cold in the little tray. If you stick your probe to the bottom, you're supposed to not rotate, but you're supposed to mix that stuff. The top is always going to be exposed to the ambient temperature. That's what I have so if so if you're not doing anything with it and you're not going to close the lid on that, then what are you expecting? It'll freeze the food on the very bottom if you don't stir it up a little bit. So either close it or stir it up, but don't sit there and expect it to be open all day. Stick your probe in there and expect the top of that thing to not be above 38 degrees.
It also depends on what's in there too, right? Because like different sauces or cheeses, that's
true.
All,
yeah, they got airy lettuce in there, and it's like it's all fluffed up lettuce. I'm like, you can see through it. So
I'm like, the box itself is not going to be cold, but that's all a part of educating the customer. I think it's an important thing, right? You got to tell them, they might not know. You got to tell them how their equipment works, what to watch out for, I guess. And a lot of times you get called out there and it's like, well, it's working, can you please just close the door?
Dude, I had a fun one. This was years ago at a breakfast and brunch spot. in Central Florida, and I went in, worked on a prep cooler, and it was the true, so it was that forced air. Everything was perfect. We get a call like I don't know, a couple days later, and nope, they're temping the top, and nothing in the top is temping right. I get there, temp everything, everything's temp perfect, everything's running fine. Leave, go back, same thing over several days. So I finally get there because they're like, well, first thing in the morning, the stuff on top is not temping right. It temps right the rest of the day, but it don't temp right first thing in the morning. So I get there first thing in the morning. The lady who owned the place was using a infrared thermometer, the trigger kind, and it had saran wrap on the top of the pans. She was taking the temperature of the saran wrap and calling in service calls on that thing. I had to explain that to her, and she was like, "No, that can't be." So I took my probe and I stuck it through the saran wrap into the food, and it all temped perfectly. And she was like, "Oh, okay, my bad."
Dude, Jack in the Box, when they came to Indianapolis, they thought they were going to temp their fryers with those. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way, guys. You can't temp oil with an infrared thermometer.
Well,
Dude,
I guess because I always tell people, make sure you check it your way, and then check it how they're checking. And I guess that's a good point to make sure that they're checking it right too. All right, so let me see. I need to go through the comments real quick in a minute, but let me go back to my board. I got lost a little bit. Hold on. Okay, educating customers, and a lot of those like dumb calls can be prevented, like Rich had to deal with. Also the walk-ins, the walk-in doors stay open. I've had that before.
Oh, man.
That's it's always best to go like right away when the call comes in if you can, or like if you can catch them in the act, I guess, because I've had that plenty of times where the walk-in doors are left open, or they got to. I always ask them, "Did you get a delivery last night or anytime recently?" Because they'll just leave the door open or leave the breaker off. I've had that plenty of times.
Yeah, they'll prop those doors open with trash cans and whatnot. There's normally a little bar that they swing the door open, it smacks and closes. I always catch trash bags that are tied, and I walk in there and I just cut them with my razor. And first I take a photo and send it to their manager, and then I cut it after a while. I'm just like, listen, this has got to stop, so.
That's when you got to do a surprise visit. Again, that's another call I ran a few years back. We did a change out on a walk-in cooler, and then the guy starts calling in. It's freezing up. I'm like, everything's perfect. Are y'all leaving the door open? No, we never leave the door open. You sure? No, we never do. So I just waited a few days, showed up unannounced, walked in. Door was wide open. Nobody was going in and out of it. Truck wasn't there, nothing. I walked straight to the bar, said, "Follow me real quick. You see this? This is how it was when I got here." After that, those calls stopped.
Yeah. The giveaways, like Jason said, you get the trash bag that's made to a little rope or a bungee cord or zip ties. I'm like, that's the first thing I look for. I don't even look at the coil. First thing I start looking around, look at the environment before I blame the unit.
Yeah, make sure they're not putting steaming food underneath the evaporator.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Back in the day when I worked restaurants, every shift used to come in and do a temperature check. They don't do that anymore. So I'll get a 1 a.m., midnight, 2 a.m. call from a restaurant saying, "Hey, our evaporator's frozen solid and it's not maintaining temperature." I'll get there and be like, "So did the last shift catch this?" Or they're like, "No, this just happened." I'm like, "Say what?" Like it takes at least 2 days for this to happen. So that means you guys have had the door open or whatnot, whatever's going on. It's no one's checking the temperature and keeping up with it. So I hate getting phone calls, getting called out at midnight for a frozen evaporator because it's been neglected for days.
Especially when it's ice. It's not even frost. It's straight ice.
Straight ice.
Yeah, it's solid.
When that frost turns solid and clear, you're like, dude, this has been like this for days. You guys are full of shit.
Yeah, we can tell. We can tell it's either frost. Okay, might have just happened that day or something. But if it's real thick ice, I get really annoyed.
Yeah, very.
All right. So as far as like customer service, back on that point, I've also told people you never know what people might end up being. People get promotions, stuff like that. We make it a point, right? We talk to everybody there, and there's a few reasons why you might want to be talking to like a cook or somebody there that works in the back, right? They know the equipment better than anybody. And you can go up to them and just straight up ask them, like, how long has it been doing this? Or what do you think about that? And they'll give you a little diagnosis, right? Quick one. And yeah, that's the first thing I tell people is to go and talk to the cooks, talk to the people that actually use this equipment.
Well, they're not going to lie to you because they know.
Oh, yeah.
Managers lie to you. They know that
Yeah, they do.
stuff's going on that they shouldn't have done. That's what caused it. But the cooks don't have any idea. They don't realize it. And they
The
tell
operator is the most inconvenienced, so they're going to be the ones to help you.
you, yeah.
Oh, yeah. When I get there, I'm like, yeah, say hi to the manager, go to the cook. What happened? What's going on?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they also help you figure, like, if you end up working on a piece of equipment you're just not familiar with, it's a new model, you just ask whoever's operating it, and since they're the most inconvenienced, you'll just say, hey, can you run me through what the sequence here? And they'll tell you it turns on, it has power, the start button works, the go button works, but then this is where it stops. They'll tell you what's wrong with it practically. They'll give you the sequence because they're the ones, like I said, the most inconvenienced.
That's especially helpful when you don't even know how to turn on the piece because you've never seen one before.
Yeah, you try not to look dumb. You'll be like, can you? Yeah, show me. Let's start all over. Let's start from the beginning.
And I hate asking, so I'll be there for a few minutes, like looking dumb, and they'll be like, "Do you need help? Yeah, you turn it on over here." All right, thank you.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
it's a new model. Yeah, this is an old one. It just came out.
Yeah, that's my go-to. Oh, yeah, this is updated one. I haven't seen this one yet.
Nah, I just stick with the show me what's happening.
Yep. I put it on the customer every time, man. It works wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good advice, to talk to the cooks and get their input on it.
So, Adrian, I just wanted to add to something you said because I have one of my really good friends is a salesman, is a salesperson at my job, and when he walks into a store, and this is kind of what you're saying that go to the cook, they might be a manager or something later, but when he introduces himself, and this is good customer service, he says, hey, knowing full well that this person isn't the manager, you'll say, hey, you seem like you're the manager, and it kind of brightens their day, but you never know where somebody's going to be later when it comes to customer service, that host at the door that you are, you're nice to, and you give a good introduction to, and you ask for their help, and you make them feel like, hey, give them the time of day, make them feel human, and give them that respect and ask for some help, that someday that person might be the manager later or the kitchen manager and whatnot. So it's not necessarily the same, but yeah, people transition, and you always want to maintain a really good relationship with whoever you talk to in that place.
Yeah, and let me throw this in there too. I'm gonna recommend a book because I'm not naturally a people person, but years ago I listened to a book called "How to Win Friends and Influence People" by Dale Carnegie. And for anybody who struggles with any type of interaction, customer service, that book right there is a game changer. They've sent me to places, and like I'm naturally a confrontational person, and I've been sent to places with confrontational managers to diffuse the manager, and it's all because of stuff that I learned in that book, where in the past I'd be like, screw me, screw you, you know what I mean? But I'm like, I learned stuff in this book that I've had managers, like we had a Denny's one time, and the guy would call at the weirdest times. As one manager, he'd call like 4 a.m, leaving these yelling, screaming voicemails and this and that and the other, and he was nasty to the technicians that walked in. So they had sent me over there. And one of the main points in that book is like, people don't really care about you. They care about themselves, and they want you to care about them. So one of the things it talks about is, find out what people are interested in and let them talk about themselves, with that. So I walk in and I see this nice, hooked up Jeep in the front of the restaurant. So I'm like, oh, that's got to be his. So he's like, this and that, the other. I give him a few minutes. And I'm like, yo, that's your Jeep out there? Oh yeah, man, this and that. He goes on all this Jeep stuff that I don't know crap about, and I'm just like, yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah. Next thing you know, he stopped with all them crazy voicemails, and then again started requesting me, hey man, send Rich. I like when he comes, and I'm like, dang, I need to tone that stuff down a little bit, but yeah, no, that book is a game changer for anybody who struggles with relating to customers or customer service and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that's like Ryan over here. He says he actually gets along with the difficult managers. I don't know. How do you guys deal with difficult customers, managers, things like that.
Empathize.
I smile and understand. Try to figure out why they're mad. I mean, something's broke. You're there. It's an inconvenience. They can't operate normally. They have staffing issues or whatever. Try to figure out why they're upset and then what you can do to fix it. Whether you fix the equipment or anything else you can do to help them. Just try to put yourself in their shoes, and it goes a long way. Now, don't take crap from a manager that's going to cuss at you, belittle you and stuff. I learned that a long time ago. Don't take anything from them, but don't give anything back either, because that's what they want. They want that confrontation so they can use it against you. So if you have a man who's belittling you or cussing at you, the best thing you do, if you can take it for a minute, try to do your job. If you can't, just calmly pack your tools up and just leave. Don't say a word. Just leave. And when they see you leave, they will change your tone 100%. It'll be 180 degrees, and they will be your best friend. So don't put up with it, but don't give it back, man, because they want it. They want you to act a fool so they can call in and, this guy said this to me, this guy did this, don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want something for free sometimes. You kind of just don't know how people's day are. You don't know what they're going through. And, for me, being that I worked in restaurants, one, you want to find out what they need. Don't blow smoke up their ass. Just get to the problem at hand, take care of them, and then create that relationship. I always, just what Rich was just mentioning about, making them feel human and trying to understand who they are, give them a little bit of time, and things will smooth out. I always say, hey, I know exactly how you feel. I've spent 15, 17 years in restaurants. So I've been on your side. I really understand what you're going through. I know what it feels like to work with half of equipment and have to work that much harder, or work in a kitchen that's hot and have to wait the weekend. And, so I've been through all that stuff. Once you make a relationship with them and you empathize with them and you show them the respect that they're human and you understand what they're going through, they'll let their guard down. And with what Rich was saying about, trying to understand something about them personally, man, you made a friend for life. And of course they're going to call you back, and they just want to be treated like human, because when you walk in, all they see is dollar signs. They don't know you personally. So all they know is that you cost a lot of money and you probably get paid hella more than they do. So they're already a little pissed off about the situation. Now, they're not making as much money because they're struggling. Now they have to pay you at the same time to come in here. They are not your friend until you make them feel human. And once you do that and you show them that respect, then they kind of let their guard down and they ease up, and they understand that, hey, it's a tough situation, and Rich is here, Pat's here to help me, and they're going to get in and get out, and if it's a good experience, I'm going to always ask for them, because I want to have that feeling every time, because they'll always remember how you made them feel.
And to that point that you said, don't blow smoke. You know what I mean? People are naturally going to have a hesitancy towards technicians, because so many technicians are full of crap, and not just in our industry, but across the board. So one thing I find, because I get along with a lot of difficult people, like we'll be in the shop and somebody will be like, man, the manager from such and such place, and then three guys are jumping in. I'm like, wait, you come from the place right up the road, so-and-so lady? Man, she loves when I'm over there. But I'm like with like this particular instance I'm thinking of, the whole time I was there, I was not rude to her, but I was like direct, blunt. This is what it is. This is what it ain't. This is what I could do for you. This is what maybe I could do for you. This is what I can't do for you. And it's not going to happen no matter what. And at the end of it, she was like, well, thank you for telling me all that. Like, at least she knew where she stood, where everything was at. People respect that. If you stop BSing people, and it goes on to little things. If you don't know something, tell the customer that you don't know. Don't make up some, BS story of this, that, and the other. You know what? I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm going to call somebody who knows better. When you start being more transparent with people, it takes a lot of their guard down, because again, especially if they don't know you, or if your company has a bad reputation, they're expecting you to take advantage of them in some way, shape, or form. When they know you're not going to do that, most difficult people will put their guard down. A lot of that confrontation is just a defense mechanism. They want, when you walk in the door, to know that you're not going to pull anything on them. The minute they realize that you're not trying to pull something over on them, they let their guard down. They trust you. And then, once they realize that with the small stuff, when you come through and you're like, yeah, you're going to need this, $8,000 repair, they're not even going to go anywhere for a second opinion, because they're like, you're honest with me about every, stupid little thing that walks in here. Why am I going to chance this big repair to somebody else who may not be as honest as you are? Let's just go get it done. And I've seen that done time and time again where customers have not even wanted a quote. You know, I give them a verbal, hey, you're looking at somewhere around $5,000-6,000. Okay, cool. When can you do it? And that's it, because they've gained so much trust. But me, you know, people trusting me is because I'm very blunt. I mean, the way y'all see me on social media is the way I am in real life. There's no pulling punches, no nothing. I had a place with a pasta cooker, and she calls it an emergency call on her pasta cooker. If she can't get it to light, she just wasn't doing it right. She asked me, she goes, and this is the kitchen manager. She's like, hey, so was the problem that I just don't know what I'm doing? I looked at her, I said, that's exactly the problem, but you're good to go now. And she was like, cool,
like
thank you.
Thank you for the honesty.
I'm one of the few techs she lets in her place.
Yo, I just want to say to what's up to Tito Vlogs. What's up, man? We got the OG in the house. Yeah, to your point, man. Like my dad is, I had to learn that from my dad. He gets along with everybody, and we have some people that are like just straight up like, you know, their personalities might come off, rude or whatever it may be, but that's just how they interact with people, right? You also gotta learn your customers. You gotta learn, you know, how they act and how they respond, how they communicate, all that good stuff. Because there's customers, you know, managers that are out there, and they'll be cussing, you know, swearing like sailors, and that's just how they are. My dad takes it, kind of reads the room, reads the energy, and tries to do it in a professional manner. But he'll start joking with them, like you said, Rich, like something that has to do with them, right? Specifically, personally. And then that sparks a conversation, and then they kind of drop their guard, and they're like, oh, you know, they start chatting with you. They have you, you know, like you said, you get some small equipment or some small calls on equipment, build that trust, and then it leads up to those big calls, and you can do basically a whole bunch of work in there that they might give other companies, you know, a hard time with, but because it's you and because you took the time to get to know them, get to know their personality, their humor, whatever it may be, you know, they're gonna request you. They're gonna pick you over a more or a cheaper company more times than not. It's good for business.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've gone into school cafeterias and fixed things for the ladies, and then I've worked and fixed a reach in behind the bar at a POW VA play. One of the veterans bars where everyone's just drinking and shooting the shit. You got to know your audience.
VFW,
yeah, the VFW. So I've been in different places. You just got to know your audience. You know, you always got you have multiple friends that come from different lives. You talk to them all different. You know, you just got to talk to people you got to meet people where they are.
I think that's the most fun part of the job is interactions with different people. I mean, some people you can cut up and joke with right away, and some people, you know, they're downright serious. And it's just learning how to read the people and interact with them is the biggest part of the job.
Oh yeah. 100%.
They all need something from you. You just got to figure out how you need to serve it up.
Yeah. Where was I? Oh yeah. You and Jason, you had that point, which was what I was trying to get into was you never know what people might end up doing later on in life, right? They get promotions. They move from one company to another as far as like the cooks, the managers and whatnot. Us being, you know, going in there and being nice to everybody, right? That's a whole customer service. That should be the whole experience for any company that goes into any place of business is be friendly to everybody, get to know some of them, introduce yourself, you know, make them all feel, you know, welcome or important, however you want to look at it. Because there's been plenty of times that we get calls, and it just happened again recently where, you know, this cook here at some restaurant ends up being a manager at a different location or another place of business. And he's like, oh, I remember these guys that took care of us over here. They treated me really well or whatever. They did really good work. I want them at my location. That has happened to us so many times. It's like, you know, they call us and we get there and I'm like, man, you look familiar. And they're like, yeah, I used to be the cook over here or whatever it may be. And that is something I try to tell people too, is like, you go in there, you never know what they may be, you know, talk to them, treat them with respect. Let them know what's going on with their equipment and all that.
Yeah, Pat's spoken to that a few times in some instances in his towns where from one end to the other, he's businesses brought him over. You can speak to that, Pat, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, you just got to take care of them. I mean, I I have a wing place, man, and the lady that actually is the general manager now. I met her when 5-6 years ago, and she was the fry cook. She just hired in. She was freaking out, man. It's one of her first days there. She was like almost in tears. I'm trying to work on the fryer. She's trying to cook, and she's like just losing. I'm like, hey, you're gonna be all right. This is an everyday thing. I'll get it fixed. You'll have all your fryers. You'll be rocking and rolling. Now 5-6 years later, she's a general manager. And when she calls in, she only wants me to go there. And I've got customers that have moved from one location to another location 30 miles away, and they kick their current service provider out and only use us. And it's crazy what your relationship with people will actually lead to.
You never know. That's right.
And you can also and we'll go back talking about how you don't know what people are going through. You're sometimes they are just dealing with their previous. You might be the new boyfriend, girlfriend to these people, but they've been through so many bad relationships, and that also is, where people they have their guard up because they've been hurt, by other companies and whatnot. They've been let down and in their time of need. So you never know what people are going through, and yeah, definitely, man. Relationship is everything. It'll follow you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. And speaking of that gives and that we can kind of close on this one. I don't want to keep you guys too long, but like what you were talking about, your metaphor of it being like a relationship, like you're the new boyfriend or whatever it may be. Some companies kind of ruin it for the rest of us, right? They go in there and they're trying to make a quick buck. They take advantage of some of these customers, restaurants, whatever place of business you're doing work at, and then they call you because they're tired of that company, but then they look at you a little different, right? They're like, they don't want to get screwed over again, basically. So they're going to be like, well, yeah, they want everything, in writing. They want pictures. A lot of them have us use apps now, like where I have to take a before and after picture, GPS. Like there's all this crazy stuff that they make us do now, or sign into like websites that shows that we're on the job site. I had one that was like a call-in system, and I had to be at the location. So that's what you have to take into account too. It's kind of annoying, but you don't know what they went through with the previous company. I don't know if you guys have any like experience with that, horror stories, if you want to share that before we close out. I've had a few of them myself too.
I'll say, you've got to be willing as a technician to go through the hardship of getting that customer to trust you. You know what I mean? It's just like, again, we can go back to the relationship thing. If you're in a relationship with somebody who's got baggage, you know what I mean? You need to be willing to help that person get through their baggage. It's the same thing. You got to understand it. And I think that's a perspective I've had for a long time, is I totally understand a restaurant expecting me to screw them. Again, in my opinion, most technicians in any field are either incompetent or they're dishonest. So you've got to be willing to do the work. And you know what? Okay, they're giving you the third degree because they're expecting you to screw them. Have the patience to tell them, this is what I did. This is why it needs to be done. This is why it costs this much. Whatever it is that you need to explain to them, but go through the process. I mean, it's not going to be like you fix one thing for them and hooray, they trust you all of a sudden. But if you do it little by little, it goes back to that gaining their trust and gaining a friend and a customer for life. Most technicians are not, willing to do that part of the work. It's, oh, well, you know what? I don't need their attitude. Screw them. They could call somebody else. That's not how it works if you're trying to do anything for the long term. And I try to keep a long-term mindset in most of the stuff that I do.
That's a good point.
Yeah. They're calling you. You need, you're there because you need their business, obviously. So you're going to do what they need you to do. You're going to have to win their trust over. If that means they get to go through your social media and read your text messages, so is what it is.
Yeah, man. We had companies, there was one that I can remember vividly. That's one where I found recently that I found a whole bunch of compressors on the rooftop, right? They had a bunch of just compressors going bad. Everything was bypassed up there. So pressure switches, even the boards and stuff. It took
Oh,
me
God.
a good while because these were Linux units to like figure out what the hell they did and put it all back together. They had one. They had one that the I don't know why the compressor was bypassed, but not the blower motor. So the blower motor was shut off as it's supposed to, and the compressor was just a block of ice when I got there. So I've seen that before. They also were asking me if it was normal to be uh, paying for refrigerant every month because they would go and top it off every month, and they were paying for it and this and that. So you know, some of these companies, they're trying to get that fast cash and take advantage, and that's what sucks. And I don't know if you guys have had any of those type of situations happen where the customer tells you like this company did this, or they ask you their your opinion because they were told something by another company
I think that's everyone's
all the time.
experience.
Too many of them, dude. Too many.
Yeah, that's a shame, man.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's the companies or it's the individuals that work for the companies are just lazy. It's hard to tell unless you've been worked at that company. But I mean, there's a lot of people out here doing this job that either don't know better or don't care to do better, and it just shines a bad light on the industry as a whole. I mean, but every industry is the same way. You have your good apples, your bad apples.
Yeah, I think the smaller the company, I'm not sure how many technicians, employees you have, Adrian, but with bigger companies, and I don't work at a big company, but I'd say this has to be true for every company, unless you're a small company and you're hiring, firing, and operating based on your mission, vision, and values. That there's always somebody who's skating under the radar, who's doing what they want to do, and is just not. They make it look bad for the company. It's those people who take the shortcuts who can ruin it for an amazing company who has a bunch of super techs, but there's more business than technicians, and if you don't realize it quick enough, you're sending warm bodies here and there, and they're the ones who ruin it for a lot of companies. There's I think in most companies there's a majority of them are probably great technicians technically and customer service wise, but what ruins it for I think every company that breaks that camel's back is that technician that just does a crappy job. And I think it's indicative of not holding people accountable, but that comes from leadership from top down. And you know what, as a technician, all the other technician knows who's the callback king and who's cutting corners, and leadership needs to listen to all the technicians. I don't care if you have to do an anonymous survey, but you're going to lose business, and it's almost always going to be based on that low man on the totem pole or the weakest link. So
say that a little louder.
Just saying.
Yeah, you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Yeah, but you got to stop enabling them.
Yeah.
That's a whole other show, Adrian.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get into too much because I feel like we could do a whole other show
we could talk
with these other topics. Yeah. So I'm gonna go through the chat real quick. If you guys need to dip out, just let me know. I know some of you guys. I know Jason. It's past his bedtime right now, so we're trying to keep him on here.
So I told you I get up at 4 a.m. every day. Let me explain that. My wife and I go to the gym at 5 a.m. every single morning, Monday through Friday. That's our thing. So I get up at 4:30, and despite the fact that I'm drinking, I'm still get up with her because that's what we do.
Oh, that's a good cause right there. That's awesome.
Is she awake? Happy wife, happy life.
Of course. I had a couple of questions from some guys on Instagram. What chemical product do you guys prefer to use? Like, there was a discussion that I had on Instagram. It was like, the products. I use the Viper products, the refrigeration technologies. I've always preferred those. I know HVAC Ash does like their promotion now. Like she works for them now, and she's been trying to do this whole awareness on reading the labels because they tend to be a lot safer to work around or be around food, and that was always a big thing for me. I don't know if you guys go either way with the products or you just use what's convenient.
I love Viper, and I started carrying the Venom packs. Because they're technically not an item that we carry where I work, but I turned in all the other stuff they had on my truck. Was like, take this out of my inventory. Went to United, been buying the Venom packs, and for me, I've always loved Viper. I think they make great products, and when it comes to coil cleaning, I mean, maybe there's better stuff, but in my experience, they've been pretty much the best. And if you use those Venom packs, they're so easy to carry on the truck and store versus having multiple, gallon bottles, and depending on the dilution, they make, I think, anywhere from 3 to 9 gallons, per bag or something crazy like that.
They last forever, man. It's a no-brainer, dude. You're paying almost the same amount for a venom pack as you are a gallon of mix, and it lasts forever. You can put like 10 venom packs in like a milk crate instead of 4
Exactly.
gallons. And I mean, this thing's, when they first came out, I was the guy up on our KFC building roof. Like, I used it to clean the coils. Like, let's see what happens. I chucked that thing like 30 feet off the roof, dude. But hit the ground and it was good to go. Try that on gallon. Like, you know what's going to happen. It's going to blow the top off and leak all over the floor. I chucked that venom pack out there like it's no big deal because I want to see what happened. And it took it.
Yeah.
So, we're kind of leeway of what chemicals we use. So I try to always use refrigeration technologies that have been a pretty good company.
Yeah.
So Adrian, I'm the planned maintenance manager for my company, and we have several techs all over the state doing planned maintenance PM work. So I'm not sure who HVAC Ash is, but I like to listen to some of her or his content in regards to that, because I haven't used any venom products. I've normally used new Colgan, and whatnot, and some other brands for the micro channels. But we get a lot of grease on what we're working on. If what you guys are saying, the venom packs goes a long way, and if they're somewhat affordable, I'd like to try them in my fleet and of my guys and girls. So
yeah, because
they're amazing, bro.
Is it?
The thing is, like my area doesn't have the refrigeration technologies or the solder weld stuff. I'm trying to get them to carry it, but I always end up ordering it. For one, the bags are so much easier to store in the van, right? You don't have to have that extra space for the actual jugs and stuff. But a lot of their stuff, like there's a aerosol can that I use a lot for condensers on like reach-ins and stuff that are in the kitchen. Theirs is more food safe than a lot of the other companies, and that's what they kind of like they hang their hat on and stuff. And HVAC Ash is Ashley. She's she used to work for Global The Source, so she was always putting out stuff for the turbos and the AMRAD stuff. And now she's at Refrigeration Technologies, and her whole like mission right now is to bring awareness to the labels. Like, have you read the back of the cleaners? Do you read the labels? Because Refrigeration Technologies ends up being one of the safer ones. Like, they have the least amount of warnings on their label.
You have to get me with her connection. So
I just tagged you on one of her TikTok videos, Jay.
I did too.
Did you
really?
The one for the venom packs. I literally just tagged you.
Yeah, I saw everybody looking at their phones right now.
On what platform?
TikTok.
She's
on Instagram.
Yeah. When I first got on TikTok, I turned off the notifications because it was going nuts.
Yeah.
So now I have to actually go in to see what my notifications are.
It's HVAC_Ash, ASH.
She's doing a pretty good job explaining all that stuff.
Yeah, I think HVAC. I think Ryan just said that they're trying to get her on their show. I was just reading that, Ryan from HVAC Misfits.
Hey man, the Misfits, they're trying to get everybody on the show. They're doing really well. They had Lance from Solderwell. They had what was it, Mikey Pipes a while back too. They have a good show there. Yeah, that's right. I
like their show.
Yeah,
they got a great show.
Catch them on the weekends.
They're definitely in my top 3.
Okay.
They're in my top 3. Misfits is.
Hey, we need Rich on Misfits next.
Rich on Misfits.
LED's asking, do you guys carry extra clothes?
Yes.
I think it's a must. No?
I had like an outfit in my van for like the past year, and I just took it out the other day. I'm like, I don't know. Even when I get greasy, I'm like, whatever. Just move on to the next thing. I don't think I've been greasy enough or soaked down wet enough where I'm like, yeah, I need to change this stuff.
Mine's only in case I rip something or tear something. So, I mean, if I get greasy, I just deal with it.
It's a good safe bet to have, because I actually just had a guy recently that said he ripped his shirt. I forgot where he was working, and one of the workers there had to find him a shirt for him to wear the rest of the day because he didn't have a backup. So it's a good backup plan to have just in case.
It's mainly
I just keep jackets.
It's mainly for tears or if you get chemicals on
Yeah.
there. You can't wash the chemicals off. That's the big issue. If you get like some chemicals, they'll eat your skin up. Or
That's why I stopped using the blue stuff too.
That's why I wear glasses, man. When I first started now, I was cleaning V coils and I was I was inside the V, spraying it from the inside from the outside in. And the wind shifted and it blew New Bright right in my eyes, dude. I literally laid on the roof for like an hour crying with a garden hose just running in my eyes. Thought I was gonna be blind. And now I have to wear glasses, and every year it's progressively worse. I'll be blind probably by the time I'm 50.
Oh, that's right. I think I've heard you say that. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep. So now I don't play with that. I don't play with New Bright, dude. If I use it, I'm like, I put it in a one of the things that mixes it, so you don't even have to deal with it. You just pour it in a thing, and you set your dilution and spray it on there that way. I don't, because I just use. I wasn't using it right anyways. I just put it in a pump of a sprayer, straight, and just pump it up and blow it in there. But yeah, I don't play around with blue stuff.
No, I have one on my truck just in case, but I try not to use it because I used to get it on my skin and stuff, and even that is irritating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes you have to use it though. But yes,
Yeah.
I keep one on my truck too. Sometimes you just have to, but last resort.
Did you know that it takes off a layer of the what is it, the
Skin?
coat? Yeah, on the unit. And according to HVAC Ash, you're supposed to go back in there with a clear coat of
See,
their products.
That part I never knew about the coating, but I knew it took a layer off, but I didn't know you're supposed to recoat it after the fact until I seen one of her videos a month ago or so.
Yeah, so she's putting all that out there. If like, I didn't know that either. I use their clear coat, but I only use it when we do work off the coast, for those kinds of units.
Water.
The salt water. Yeah. So I've used that product before, but I didn't think about it. I mean, again, I don't use a blue brightener anymore, but if you do use it, they want you to recoat it, apparently.
Good.
All right, guys. Any last words? I don't want to keep you guys too long. I can wrap it up and do the outro in a minute.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you for having us.
Man,
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I like us coming on this group and just hanging out, talking, man. And I don't have to do
Yeah,
this.
this was fun.
I don't have
It
to
was
edit
great.
anything, so
No, it was great. And Pat's been on here. I think you're the first guest I've had on here 3 times now. So
yes, 3 feet. I love
it's
it.
awesome. It's awesome having you on, Rich and Jason. We'll figure something out. I got to get you on the show so we can talk about your own thing, your own career, and all that. So,
Are you going to be at AHR and
now-
HVAC Tactical?
Now I am. I wasn't going to, but now I am.
Okay, Pat and I will be there.
Oh yeah, I'll talk to you
Rich?
later, Pat. Because
No, I'm good.
you're not going.
That's the one that's
Are
in
you
Chicago
doing-
in the wintertime, ain't it?
Oh yeah, he's from
Yeah.
the south.
Next year's Orlando, I heard. But
Yeah.
I might make the Orlando one. The Orlando one, I could probably do that one.
That's why I said no, but now I'm going. I didn't want to go to Chicago, but it is what it is. Are you
appearances?
Are you doing the podcast pavilion, Pat?
Yeah, I've got 2 booked. They're already booked up with guests. I wouldn't mind. I could probably get a 3rd one. I know there's still some openings. I wouldn't mind getting a 3rd one. I want to bring on a kitchen guy, but it's kind of scarce getting kitchen guys there at HR. It's mainly heating and air guys, plumbers, boiler guys, stuff like that. But there's a few kitchen.
Right.
I'd like to get a kitchen guy there, though. But I can book more slots, and if you want a slot, man, we can probably hook something up and get you a slot too. So I know some people.
I'm talking to Gil. Well, I haven't heard anything back, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll get you a spot or something." But I was like, at first I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do it there, but I mean, might as well, right?
You don't have to bring equipment, dude. Like they'll email you the file and everything. Everything's there. You show up.
Oh,
If you have an intro music, you just bring the intro music on a flash drive or send it to them. Dude, it's cake, man. There's no work involved. They make it so dang easy. Now, if you want a video, you can bring a camera and record it or do it off your phone like I did. But
yeah.
it's so easy, dude. I'll put you in contact with Nicole. I'll get you
Okay.
email for email address and everything and introduce you to her. I got lucky.
Nice.
I got one spot last year. We'll get you a spot, man.
Who's is Nicole's with AHR or who are they with?
Nicole Bush, she does
Oh,
all
okay.
marketing and social media and stuff for AHR. So she's the one in charge of it, dude.
We'll see. Someone was asking when the tactical award show is. Is it January, right?
It's that same location, same week
It's a
as
Sunday.
AHR.
Yeah, they do that the night before the AHR starts, and it's usually a Sunday night because then Monday through Wednesday is the convention, basically, and I think it's like the last week of January.
Yep, last week of January.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you all coming in. If I miss any questions, we'll get to it on the next show. It was a blast talking to you guys. You know, I appreciate you guys for making the late night appearance here. I know I'm keeping you guys up late, or some of you,
I'm
all
on
of you, right?
Go on
The
vacation.
older ones.
All right, guys. I'm gonna cue the outro. I appreciate everybody for tuning in the comments. I appreciate all the questions that came through. Oh, and I forgot, Brian. I appreciate that super chat. He thought I was gonna be late, but I was not today. I know I usually am. I know, but I made it on time today. So take that, Brian. And if you guys need to dip out, there's gonna be an outro. It's like a minute long, or no, what is it? 50 seconds long. If you guys need to dip, that's fine. I got to wait for it to end, and I'll be here after. All right. See you
All right,
guys.
ciao.
See you.